What I have to do today is replace the steering rack rubbers on this V12. In order to do that, I have to break the connection of the track rod end on the end of the steering link. There's a couple of tools I can use to do this, but I don't want to replace the track rod end. There's actually nothing wrong with it, despite the fact it looks rusty. Welcome to Canada. I need to break this, or break the connection, and then take my tie rod end off the end, and then change my rubbers, so that my problem is to disconnect that from that. So I'll show you the tools, the options and the tools that I've got to do that with. So the tools that I can use, the most common one, and the most brutal to me, is one called a fox wedge, or a pickle fork in America. It's called a fox wedge in England, I believe. It's a pretty solid thing. It's got the fork on the end. It goes either side of the tie rod end. They come in different sizes. They also have one that's an air gun on the end of it. To be quite honest, I don't use this unless I'm going to change the tie rod end or the track rod end, because you can barely get them off without damaging the rubber. You're lucky if you get it off without doing that. Plus the fact sometimes they damage the taper, but they do get them off. The other one that I can use is a clamp tie. We sell these on our website. They're pretty cheap. They slide in and you tighten the bolt up. It puts a bit of force on the bolt at the bottom, then it separates the track rod end and off you go. The third way is I bash it with an hammer, but you've got to know how to hit it. There's a technique to it. You don't just bash away at everything. So first of all, I'll show you how both these tools fit first, and then I'll come back and show you how I actually do it. So if we take the fox wedge and we put it in and insert it in there, and then we bonk it with the hammer on the end of here. With the other one, the clamp tie, we put it in and insert that in with our piece on the bottom, and we can tighten the bolt up. The problem with both of these is the fact sometimes it's a bit difficult to get into if you're doing a ball joint. As you can see in here where the ball joint is, it's a bit more difficult to get the tool in. You've got to take stuff out, and on the bottom it's really difficult to access the jointing with one of these tools, but you just have to go and see what you can do. Then you'd use the fox wedge because you can get it in. Now the third way is with my hammer, which is a couple of things I got to point out. So let me go and get my hammer. Okay, now the third way I can do it is with my hammer. I use a 2 or a 3 pound ball peen hammer. I don't use a construction hammer. It's completely wrong for this kind of thing. In fact, for doing any automotive work, I see videos with people on it. It's just, I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, so I'm going to hit this on the end of the arm so that it gives it a solid blow. If I hit it on the end, it's going to tend to move it. It's not going to be as good. Also, as another thing, you've got to be a good shot. I don't want to miss and hit the rotor. If I hit the rotor or the disc, it's going to put a mark in it, and I'll feel it on the panel when I touch the brakes. So what I'm going to do first, as I'm taking this off, I'm going to undo my lock nut, and I'm going to take this nut off, and I'll show you how it comes off with the hammer. I've taken the nut right off the bottom. So what I do is put it back on again in case I miss it and bash the threads and damage them. I've undone the lock nut so that now I don't have to struggle with it flopping around. I undo it now, just crack it back a bit and leave it so I mark where my track rod end goes to. So all I need to do now is bash this, and this will come off so I can unscrew it. So I've got to hit it on the end and not hit that. So see, it comes out for me. Probably came out in the first bit, but I never noticed. So now I can unscrew my track rod end. What I'm going to do is hold the bar on the steering rack and under the lock nut, take that off and change my thing. So that's basically it. When I put it back together and push this in, whatever you do, don't put oil on here. Don't put any grease on it thinking that that's going to make it better when you take it apart again. Don't do that. Put it back on. If when you put the nut on, and it's a lock nut, you should put a new one on. If you put the lock nut on it and it starts to turn the shaft, so you can't hold it, what you need to do is get a big screwdriver and you shove it under there and push down on the top and push the taper in, and then you'll be able to tighten the nut. There'll be no problem with it. And don't forget, you have to have some kind of locking mechanism on here. If you haven't got a nut and you can't replace it, put a spring washer on it. But whatever you do, don't just put a loose nut on it and leave it without any locking mechanism. This drops off, big problem. Anyway, that's about it. That's how you take the tractor ends out.